Greetings, programs. This is Digital Jedi coming to you uncharacteristically live from the COG orbital satellite. Today on the show, we'll be reacting to bits of news posted throughout the day, including Star Wars The Last Jedi, Disney pulling out of Netflix, and as time permits, Star Trek Discovery, including the upcoming comic Star Trek The Next Generation meets Aliens. So stay tuned. If you have an idea for future topics, or you just want to say hi, call into the show and let me know.
Hey there, I saw you were listening to Daily Tech Headlines and just wanted to say thanks. And wanted to let you know if you have questions or you want to send us a comment, feel free to call on in. We love getting calls and play them on the show regularly.
Hey, Daily Tech Headlines, thanks for that, and back at you.
So this is what I think regarding Marvel TV show and movie crossover. We have already had Agent Coulson in both of them, and a episode about the lady from Thor 1, who is Thor's friend from Asgard, who comes to the earth and forgets and memory. I don't know. So we have had a Agents of Shield episode about that. So it has already happened, and there is no beef between the two heads of Marvel. It's just that they don't want to lose their jobs. And there are rumors running around about the actor that plays Daredevil being casted for Avengers 4. So that could happen too.
Hey there, the Applied MCU show. Yes, you are thinking of Lady Sif from Thor. Yes, definitely the entire TV universe was actually kicked off by Coulson. So we have basically the entire television branch of the MCU was kicked off by the cinematic movie character. And yeah, we've had some crossover up to this point. We've had Maria Hill and Agent Sitwell and a number of agents who made appearance as SHIELD agents in the movies, reprised their roles for the television show. Most of them are dead now, but yeah, that was pretty cool. And yes, I did hear the same rumor that you heard about Daredevil possibly being cast, Charlie Cox being cast for Avengers 4. I don't know how much credence there is to those rumors, but I'm hopeful. And I really do think that it is going to happen. I don't know if it is part of Marvel's immediate long-term plans, but I'm just absolutely convinced that something going in the other direction, not just movies into TV, but TV into movies, I think is something that we're definitely going to see, or possibly a Marvel one-shot that brings the two together. And actually, I'd be kind of happy with that. I think that would be pretty satisfying. But yeah, thanks for calling in.
And speaking about the Black Bolt Inhumans article you were telling about, media they just want to make money. They don't have enough content, original content. They just want to make money off of writing some shit article which will just mess with people, and people will read it just to know what is happening. So sometimes writers don't even believe what they're writing, and they write it just to check the box that they have an article submitted for the website. So I don't believe media, and I think neither should anyone else.
So basically you're saying they're trolling. Yeah, I agree with you. It probably is just an advanced form of trolling. I know that a lot of the movie and comic book centric websites, the geek centric websites, they have the ability to contribute user articles. Basically, they'll give you you can contribute an article to the website as long as your spelling and your research and your grammar and everything is okay. They'll post your article. I don't know if comicbookmovie.com is one of those that does that. I glanced briefly and I didn't see anything like that on their pages. I saw something that indicated in the comments section that this particular article writer has an affinity for bashing the Inhumans show. And you're probably right. It probably is just an advanced form of trolling. On the other hand, he probably doesn't like Inhumans. He probably doesn't like what he's seen so far. And there's this odd little thing in human nature where if you don't like something, you don't want anyone else to like it either. So I'll cut him some slack for being human, and I'll still criticize him for not really thinking that through or just trying to poke the cage. But yeah, again, thanks for calling in. And in Star Wars news, Entertainment Weekly published a double issue this morning with 2 covers of Rey and Luke Skywalker, along with an interview with Mark Hamill and some amazing photos from Star Wars The Last Jedi. The Luke Skywalker cover looks amazing. Luke looks just like his former master did right around the time that he died. Let's hope that's not foreshadowing. And the Rey cover, Rey just looks beautiful with her face illuminated by a blue lightsaber standing on the shores of the planet that Luke exiled himself to, the planet Ahch-To. In addition to that, we have some amazing photos on the inside. The one that I think is making the most news is the ones of Supreme Leader Snoke's Praetorian Guard. If you remember Palpatine's guards, they were pretty menacing looking, but they looked ceremonial. They did not look like the costumes allowed for a great deal of freedom of movement. That was one thing that I always took note of in both the original trilogy and in the prequel trilogy. But the pictures that we got from the EW of Snoke's Praetorian Guard show the same blood red armor, but these are decidedly more menacing. These costumes look like they can move, and in fact the costume designers said that they were designed to make it look like these guards could kill you at a moment's notice. They have a samurai-esque feel, and apparently no two are going to be identical. There's going to be some variation between what looks like masks and weaponry. So if you haven't seen that, go to EW's website or Google EW The Last Jedi to get a look at those. In addition, we got some insight from Mark Hamill about Luke's character, something that we had not heard before. Apparently, Luke Skywalker perceived that Kylo was the next chosen one, and that he was not only regretting his mistake, but felt responsible for it. So that is an interesting layer added to The Force Awakens that I don't think we knew about before. In addition, there is another interview with Donald Glover in The Hollywood Reporter. The article covers a lot more than Star Wars, the Han Solo movie. I've been calling it Han Solo, a Star Wars story, but I think at this point it's still untitled Han Solo film. But there's a very brief description of Donald Glover's meeting that Lucasfilm arranged with Billy D. Williams. Apparently, Childish Gambino had a lot more depth and insight into this character than Lando Calrissian than Billy Williams had. He's sitting there discussing where he thinks the character comes from and what he thinks his motivations are and why he got to this point in his life. And he's asking Billy D. Williams if he agrees with his assessment, and Billy D. Williams says Yeah, I don't know about all that. Just be charming. So, pretty good interview. It's mostly not about The Last Jedi, but if you want to check that out, it is at thehollywoodreporter.com. In a previous podcast, I talked about the various Star Wars-based attractions that are coming to both Disney in Anaheim, California, and Orlando, Florida. And not counting that just amazing hotel that Orlando, Florida is getting with the fully immersive Star Wars experience, where you are basically residing in a starship for your stay. You see space outside the windows, the staff is dressed as aliens and droids, and you can dress up as a Star Wars character and engage in lightsaber training and lightsaber duels, along with an ongoing interactive experience in the hotel and the park. But in addition to all that, earlier this week we also learned that Disney is getting a hyper reality experience called Star Wars Secrets of the Empire. Now, a hyper reality experience is basically the same as a virtual reality experience, except this includes sensation, haptic feedback, and theoretically it would include smells and anything to make the environment seem more real. We don't know exactly the logistics of it just yet, and we don't have a whole lot of information from it yet, but we do know that it's coming to downtown Disney at the Disneyland Resort and Disney Springs at Walt Disney World. If you're unfamiliar with these areas, these are basically the areas of Disney theme parks that are free to the public. They're not in a park, they're in more like a marketplace area where there are shops and eating places and various forms of entertainment. So you will be able to, you no doubt will have to pay to do this attraction, but it will be in a location that is not walled off by a ticket gate. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm hoping that it is not outside of my budget because it takes a lot of money to get to Florida in the first place. But when I do, I will definitely post videos of this if we manage to make our biannual Disney trip next year. Yesterday we learned that Disney is starting its own streaming service and ending its relationship with Netflix, at least by 2018 or 2019. Next year they plan on starting their own ESPN streaming service, and in 2019 they plan on launching their own Disney-centric service. And I think this has kind of been met with largely negative criticism, at least from consumers, who, man, we just don't want to pay for another streaming service. I mean, as it is, we have our funds split between things like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, HBO, Go, Showtime Now, or whatever it is they call it. There's a lot of streaming services out there, and while it makes business sense for some of these companies, oh yes, CBS All Access, almost forgot about all them. While it makes sense for these companies to split their content up into individual streaming services so that they can have the exclusive rights to certain shows, it's kind of taken us back to the model that had us leave cable in the first place, and that is having to pay too much for a lot of things we don't want to see so that we can see the things we do want to see. And, well, it's kind of an interesting development. I don't know where it's going to go. But, on the other hand, there's something to be said for Disney doing its own streaming service. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that even though Disney has an exclusive relationship with Netflix, which Netflix says that they're going to continue to have a relationship with Marvel TV, there's not a lot of Disney stuff on Netflix. Seriously, go look. At least in the US, I went looking for Marvel movies. And sure, All the Defenders series were on there, and as were a few cartoons, but the only other major Marvel properties on there were Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., previous seasons, not the current one obviously, and Civil War. So with all that back catalog of Marvel movies, those are the only two that Disney has seen fit to put on Netflix. I went looking for Star Wars, and, well, I pretty much knew how that one was going to go. Pretty much there's nothing up there except for the Clone Wars movie, and Rogue One. So, depending on how this deal works next year, in 2019, it would be nice if Disney, when they do the streaming service, that they actually put the movies that they have been keeping from streaming services up. Now, I know the Star Wars trilogy, both trilogies, are available on other streaming platforms. Why it's not on Netflix, I don't know. But it would be nice if they were all in one streaming service that we could pay for. I think people would pay if they could get all of their MCU movies, all of their Star Wars movies, and all of their Disney movies all in one place. At least in the US version of Netflix, I did a search for that today too. Yeah, that's kind of slim pickings as well. I mean, you definitely have some big name movies. You have Moana, you have Lilo and Stitch, but then you've got things like Pocahontas 2, or The Invisible Sister, Brother Bear 2. They don't even have Brother Bear 1. How are you gonna have Brother Bear 2 and not Brother Bear 1? Why would you even have Brother Bear 2 on there? Basically, it would be nice to see a streaming service that did carry all the Disney stuff, and a part of me would be okay with that. But in the end, it's going to depend on what the variety of products are to watch. If every single Marvel movie, the full back catalog of Marvel TV shows, the full back catalog of Pixar movies, the full back catalog of Walt Disney Animation, the full back catalog of Disney movies from the time they started making live action films back in the 50s. If everything is on there, then Disney's got something. But if they're going to be slim pickings like they are with Netflix and the other streaming services that they've haphazardly put their videos on, it's not going to do as well. Guys, thanks for tuning in to the Digital Jedi podcast. We just ran out of time today for Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek vs. Aliens, so we will cover that on the next show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in on Anchor.fm, for listening to me. If you are listening to this on YouTube, when I put the full podcast together, you can find the segments posted daily for the month of August at Anchor.fm/DigitalJedi. For those of you listening to me on Anchor.fm, I can also be found on YouTube.com/DigitalJediMaster and VidMe/DigitalJediMaster. So look me up there, whatever website you like to frequent. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see y'all on the flip side. Peace out.